Kamaru Usman might be the UFC undisputed welterweight champion, but the Nigerian Nightmare has a problem if he wants to be a big name in fight sports.
Felt good. Just kind of dealing with all the circumstances that I had to deal with this whole week. I think in the last 3 days, I slept maybe 10 hours, if that.
The problem is that fight fans think he's boring, and that will undoubtedly cost him millions and millions of dollars.
And then, of course, dealing with the heat. And then, of course, having the weight cut and things like that. It was a very, very challenging week for me mentally. Like, I can't even tell you guys what the last 24 hours was like mentally.
It's almost surprising that Usman is in this position when he could have learned what not to do from the man he dethroned, Tyron Woodley.
I mean, let's be real here. I mean, everybody want to be real. Let's be real. I say things because they're real. I don't say them just to spark a buzz. I really say them to get a solution to the problem.
As a truth-talking power grinder, the former welterweight champ was basically a prototype for Usman both in and out of the cage. And despite what the chosen one said, he clearly hated that people weren't buying into him, just like Usman.
This sport was built on, if you can kick this person's ass and make it look good, you should be fighting the top guys. And we've kind of shifted away from that, but I just trying to find a way to do it all. Kick the butt, look good doing it, speak well after I do it, and be well-rounded enough to make the fans want to watch me fight.
Unfortunately for Woodley, he just couldn't make the fans want to watch his fights, even with a championship belt around his waist, and it cost him dearly. That's something you could never say about someone like Conor McGregor.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Say it again.
You're going to earn an extraordinary amount of money.
One more time.
An extraordinary amount of money.
The Notorious One is a pay-per-view juggernaut because of two critical reasons, neither of which were the belts he held. The first is that he's the absolute opposite of boring.
You're looking at a young Irish animal here, and I am fearless and confident as a mother.
McGregor is a loudmouth joker who will pick fights at press conferences and weigh-ins, and people show up in record numbers to all of his fights because he's super entertaining. The second and most important reason McGregor is the UFC's biggest name is that he finishes fights, usually in spectacular fashion, and usually against high-level opponents. In the end, it's combat, and that's what we're after. Look at Mark Hunt. The Super Samoan let his hands do the talking like few men ever have. When he won, he completely separated men from their senses, and people paid top dollar to watch, and he didn't have to say a word. Compare that to Woodley, whose win over Stephen Thompson is widely regarded as being one of the most boring UFC title fights in history.
When you have a performance like this, when you have a fight like this, how difficult is it to, further that cause?
A fight like what? A world championship fight against a very tough opponent, a chess match and a rematch?
Yeah.
Is that what the fight you're talking about?
I don't think it was well received by the fans, is what I'm saying.
That's okay. Well, the fans can also tap in. I'll pause the fight. They can enter the cage. I'll exit the cage, and they can show me how to do it better.
Woodley would rather tell the fans they're wrong than get on their good side. And Usman is testing those very same waters when fans say his fights are boring.
Yeah, but what's the point of training each and every day and then going there and just slugging around, taking punches? You train to be able to make someone miss, to be able to control them in a certain way. That's what training is for, so you're not in there just taking punishment at will. And I do that better than anybody. And so whoever is saying that, they can say whatever they want.
Successfully or not, both Woodley and Usman openly modeled themselves after one man who designed the template for commercial fighting success.
There was a time where people started hating Floyd Mayweather because he was so dominant. And Floyd, his defense was so good, and he was just so good at what he did.
5-division boxing champ Floyd Mayweather Jr. sold fights like it was going out of fashion, and he's earned just shy of $1 billion. And he didn't finish fights or give particularly good press conferences.
Me, myself, I'm outgoing, I'm outspoken, I have a lot of personality, so That's just me.
While he wished he was good on the mic, Mayweather was always kind of boring. But he still drew a crowd for two main reasons.
You know, I've been here so many times, so I know what it takes. I don't have to brag, I don't have to boast.
He's about as arrogant a boxer as there ever was, which made him a natural villain for many. But that only works if you've got the skill to back it up. And Mayweather repeatedly proved that he has the skill to back it up and then some.
Actually, I wasn't nervous for any of the fights. I don't really get nervous. I know what I bring to the table. You know, I can fight, and I'm a sharp guy, so.
His reflexes and counterpunching abilities are incredible. His fight IQ is off the charts. And his confidence on the big stage is unwavering. Put all that together, and so started the streak. It wasn't long before people tuned in record numbers to see how long the streak could go. His undefeated run became historic, and people like to watch history being made. But he never got beat, ever. And that's how he got so big.
We can agree on that. He was so good at what he did to where everyone's like, oh, that's boring. He's not just fighting because people want to see a bar fight. You know, we're risking our lives in there.
Like Mayweather, Usman is a seemingly unbeatable and some might say boring champion. But Mayweather put together 26 consecutive wins in world title fights across 5 divisions. That makes him something special and explains his arrogance. Usman's 3 title wins in one division doesn't amount to a streak, and he's simply not a bad guy. And we all know how bad guys get the greenbacks. Just ask his last opponent, Jorge Masvidal.
You got the head buster with no longer with his clavicle. He got all types of shit. Then he got those punches to the face, you know, because I thought he was gonna get up.
Gamebred has never won a title, but he's entertaining. He loves to fight, and he'll probably earn just as much as Usman did despite losing. That's something Usman has to keep in mind. Fans pay money to watch fighters fight, but fighters get paid more the more people watch their fights. So boring fighters make significantly less. Like it or not, you have to have a unique selling point to make it big in the hurt game. And if you've got that, nothing can stop you.
Thanks for watching. And remember, if you want more fight sports in your life, just hit the subscribe button.